Hi everybody, and thank you for joining us again for Cooking with Chris. We've got two great easy summer recipes for you today. Chris, take us through the first one.
Okay, the first is shish kebab, and for that we'll use 1 serving of protein. For my demonstration I use steak, 3 servings of veggies, and you can mix and match, use half of one and supplement with half of another if you want lots of different types. And then I made a marinade last night. I had a tablespoon of toasted sesame oil, a half a tablespoon of red wine vinegar, and a 1/4 clove of minced garlic. And I let it marinate overnight, and it got a little too acidic and citrusy for me. So I would maybe omit the red wine vinegar if you don't like that taste, or just brush it on right before you cook it. I wouldn't necessarily let it marinate overnight like I did.
So you could just let it sit in the oil and the garlic overnight and then brush the vinegar on it the last
Or
second.
just mix all 3 and brush it on before you cook it.
Oh, okay.
I mean, depending on the cut of meat that you're using. I mean, it's a pretty small piece of meat for a shish kebab. The odds of it getting really tough and really needing a marinade, you probably don't need it. So brushing it on right away and then cooking it should be fine. So, and I use bamboo skewers. Important note, you have to soak these in water for 20 minutes or they will catch on fire.
I've heard that.
All right,
funny.
so let me get started. I'll put one together real quick. Pretty self-explanatory. And obviously you won't be able to have as much meat as you will veggies. So we made a couple of skewers with just vegetables so that we could get our total amounts.
Oh, that was a good idea.
Yep, so here I have the steak. I have some zucchini, some red onion cut into little triangles, and bell pepper, again into little triangles, and then white mushrooms with the stems pulled off. Here we go, and I'll just repeat the pattern.
They're so pretty. Doesn't that just say, like, you know, family party?
I love it. All right, let me do this quickly.
Now, you said you got your kids into the act last night as well.
Yes, I set up like a little bar, a little shish kebab bar. I cut up all the veggies and put them onto little plates and put the meat out and let them set theirs up however they wanted. My older daughter put all meat on hers. She didn't want to deal with vegetables at all, but the little one got really into it. It was fun.
See, and that's a great way to get your kids eating more vegetables and, you know, really being involved in the process of having a fun, healthy meal.
Yep.
And again, that would be fun to do at a party. You can have a whole bunch of kids there doing that.
There you go.
Assuming that you can trust them with the bamboo skewers.
Yeah. And make sure they wash their hands after touching the raw meat if you let them. Okay, so there's an assembled shish kebab.
That looks delicious.
Yeah, cook it on the grill, medium-high heat for about 15 minutes. You're going to want to turn it every 3 minutes or so. You'll know it's done when the meat is done. The veggies will usually cook a little faster than the meat. And then here I have a completed kebab from my dinner last night.
Which might get eaten cold very soon.
It was pretty yummy. So that's it for that one. Very simple recipe.
Wow, super. Okay, well, I have a neat little side salad, and this can be eaten as is, or you can put it over a bed of lettuce greens. You can do all sorts of stuff with this recipe. I even tweaked it to turn it into a stuffing for Cornish game hens. So quinoa is great. That's what we're using today. It's a quinoa salad. Now, quinoa is spelled Q-U-I-N-O-A, but it's pronounced quinoa. So if you've seen that in the store, this is what this stuff is. It's kind of a little bit like brown rice, but it's softer. It has a few more calories, but I think about twice the protein of brown rice. So I really like it. It's a complete protein source, and it's really easy to digest. So if you have someone in the family that's a vegetarian, quinoa is a really good choice for them. So it's super simple. You pre-cook the quinoa. You have to rinse it first, and that's the only hard thing, because when quinoa is raw, it's these tiny, tiny little beads, and I'm like, how am I going to rinse this? So I just put it in the pot and swished it around and used the lid to drain it. I'm assuming it worked. Yeah. So cook it first. You'll put 1 cup of quinoa to 2 cups of water, however you adjust that up or down at home. And then it took about 10 minutes to cook today. After it's cooked, just kind of stir it through, fluff it up, you know, let the steam out and let it cool off before you put it in the fridge. So for the recipe, we have 1/3 of a cup of quinoa, and this makes 1 serving on the phase 2 plan. But this is really easy to scale up and down for parties and stuff like that. It's 1/4 cup of celery, and we love celery because it gives it that crunch and, you know, it makes it more filling and all the rest of it as well. And then I messed around with the quantities here a little bit. I've said 1/8 of a cup of red pepper. You could have a little more, but I think this ratio works well for me. And 1/8 of a cup is equivalent to 2 tablespoons. And I couldn't find my 1/8 cup today, so we have 2 tablespoons going in. And then I like to use the same amount of onion as I did the red bell pepper. And again, it's 1/8 of a cup. I do like a lot of onion though, and some people don't. Now, you might have noticed these ingredients. I chopped everything up really small. It's worth the effort to make it really fine. It seems to just sort of combine better with the quinoa. So that actually is the entire salad. You just stir it together. I love the colors.
Wow,
Isn't
very
that
pretty.
pretty? So, and this really is filling, just as a side salad as is, but you, like I said, you can put it over greens, you can put it over green or purple cabbage, you can do all kinds of fun things with it. So, so that's the salad itself. Now the dressing, again, is super simple. We're using red wine vinegar, and this one is 2 tablespoons of the vinegar, and again, this is 1 serving of dressing, so again, it's really easy to scale up and down, and this will keep for a couple of days in the fridge, you know, if you make some extra and use it for other things. And then I'm using tahini sauce, and I get this at Trader Joe's. I'm sure it's available other places. Tahini is just crushed sesame seeds, and it's delicious, but tahini sauce is even better. It has less calories because it's got other stuff in there and it's been whipped up and stuff, so it's sort of the consistency of hummus, but they've put a lot of garlic in this. So if you don't like garlic, tahini sauce is not for you, but I happen to love garlic, and this is a real favorite of mine. So I use a tablespoon of this. It's not a low-calorie item, so it does count as about 2/3 of a tablespoon of oil if you're looking at your daily intake. And then I really love mustard. Mustard gives this just that little extra kick. Because I love it, I use an entire teaspoon. A lot of people don't love mustard as much as I do. You could scale that down to maybe about 1/4 teaspoon. That would be fine too. So I like to just put it in a little Tupperware so that I can shake it. And it's literally that simple to combine. Now that makes a fair amount of dressing. So you might not use all of that dressing on this one little salad. Usually I end up putting this over a big plate of greens, and so you want that little extra dressing. So I'm going to use just about half of it.
Smells really good.
Doesn't it? I know, it's really good. And you just stir it through. It's kind of a wetter side dish, and this actually would go great with the shish kebabs. It also goes really well with like a piece of barbecued steak or a barbecued chicken breast. It's really, really good. Do you want to use our spoon for a taste test?
Sounds good to me. I'll go for it. Trying to get a little bit of everything. It's very good.
It is. It's
very good.
A lot of flavor in this. So
I love the crunch.
there it is. Our summer recipes. Have a great 4th. Bye.
Bye-bye.